On November 16, 1972, members of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, coast to coast, stopped work to protest the flood of foreign imports washing away American jobs.
I am Louis Stolberg, President of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. Let me show you something. Here's a dress that's made of all places in Hong Kong. I believe that's about 9,000 miles from New York. Here I have in my hand a blouse, made at the other end of the world, made of all places in Argentina. And here's something familiar. This is the great American sport, baseball. When I was a young fellow, I used to play a lot of baseball in my time. As a matter of fact, on occasion I used to get paid for it. The great American sport. And where do you think this is made? Of all places in Japan. A TV set, a radio, coat, shoes, handbags. The list is really endless. Where do these imports come from? From factories where wages are as low as 9 cents an hour. 9 cents an hour human beings are made to work for. Where they work 70 hours a week without overtime. Where they use child labor, something that we have abolished many years ago. Where they have no safety or sanitary standards. We must put a stop to it if we're to save our jobs. Yes, I said save our jobs.
American workers are losing their jobs as a result of imports. Newsweek magazine points to the flood of imports from Japan. We know that sweatshop imports are flooding in from all over the world.
In the last few years, more than 250,000 job openings have been washed away in the garment industry alone.
Let's look at the hourly wages of foreign sweatshop labor. Hong Kong, 26 cents an hour. Korea, 9 cents. Taiwan, 25 cents. Costa Rica, 28 cents. Colombia, 20 cents. Mexico, 30 cents. Across the Atlantic, Spain's hourly garment workers' wage, 25 cents. In Portugal, a mere 18 cents an hour. "70 years ago, in slums like these, men and women worked their lives away in the sweatshops of American cities. In those years, the sweatshop was a way of life and death in the United States, where people went blind because of poor lighting conditions, where their hands became stiff with fatigue and age, where they took home all the work they could carry to labor throughout the night. How many children lost their childhood, their youth, their health in the sweatshop? How many children worked side by side with their mothers? How many children viewed the world through grimy factory windows? We put a stop to inhumane working conditions in our country. Today, skilled hands working for a living wage receive the benefits of their labor, paid vacations, health care, severance pay, death benefits, retirement pay, a right to be represented, a voice in their own destiny. These Americans work for a living, raise their families, pay their taxes. These Americans are losing their jobs, losing their opportunity to work. When they lose their jobs, everyone's job is in danger, because these men and women are the consumers of America. In 1956, 4 out of every 100 garments purchased were imported. In 1961, 6 out of every 100 garments were imported. These men could lose their jobs. Today, out of every 100 garments purchased, 25 are imported. This woman is worried. She speaks for all these operators. What can be done to save their jobs?
We feel that the government and Congress can be of assistance in 3 areas. In the first place, the President already has powers now to place certain restrictions on imports from foreign countries. Additionally, we would hope that agreements will be signed with this nation, with all other nations which currently do not have such agreements, so that we can impose effective limits on imports from foreign nations. And finally, we are behind the Burke-Hartke bill. We think that legislation of this nature, or similar legislation, can effectively give the President and the government additional strength to negotiate such treaties with foreign nations.
Elected city officials throughout the nation are responding to the call of the union to save jobs by urging government action. The union goal? A more prosperous America. In New England, from Maine to Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland. In the Old South, Virginia to Florida. In the central states, from Missouri to Texas. In the Midwest, from Ohio to Illinois and Indiana. Across the Rockies to the West Coast, union members are demonstrating to keep Americans working. The media have lent their support. Let's look at some of the headlines. Hub garment workers protest imports. Union protests flood of imports. Clothing union protests job-killing imports. Garment workers march.
Of demonstrating and letting the public know that we're sick and tired of having our jobs exported. We're sick and tired of going to the unemployment insurance offices to collect checks. We want to collect wages and not checks. We've got to make sure that our senators and congressmen understand the needs of their constituents. We expect you not only to protest here and to march here, but we also expect you to notify the congressmen who represent you that you are interested in saving your job.
Imports are growing. Our jobs are threatened. Unemployment is on the rise. We must fight for jobs not only for ourselves but for all Americans. Remember, the job you save may be your own.